A couple months ago, I did a video about billionaires and their seemingly obsessive behavior as it comes to seeing the Titanic wreckage. And it all started with that Oceangate submarine incident. And I'm sure that you remember that's the one where 5 people died as they were trying to go to the bottom of the ocean to see the Titanic wreckage. And personally, I thought that all of that obsessive behavior as it comes to the Titanic was really just gonna end there. Because once we saw how everything unfolded or how it imploded, I figured that there was gonna be nobody left on the waiting list actually wanting to do that same activity. I figured that really the whole hype of this Titanic thing would just die down. But look, I'm a man of integrity. I can admit when I'm wrong. And in this case, I was definitely wrong. Because just today, I came across a Forbes article about this billionaire Larry Cooper and his plans to be the next person to make it possible for people to go down and see the Titanic. Because literally, just 1 year, only 1 year after we all clung to our TVs to see what was gonna be the outcome of this submarine that got lost at sea, and here we have another rich person doing it again. And I'm sure that you're all familiar with this quote, and I don't know who it's originally by, but it says that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Personally, if I saw 5 people jump into a fire or jump off a cliff and none of them ever came back, I guarantee you that I'm not the kind of person that's gonna be following suit. But when it comes to the Titanic, rich people just have this obsession. Literally from the time that the Titanic launched up until today, they seem to be willing to just risk it all when it comes to this ship, including their lives. Now granted, I'm not Larry Connor, because if you were to look up trillionaire in the dictionary, I'm pretty sure that his picture is gonna pop up, because he has a whole history of doing death-defying stunts and taking extreme risks. For example, he skydived from record-breaking heights, he traveled down to the bottom of the Mariana Trench, and he was even one of the world's first private astronauts. And his philosophy is really what made him a billionaire in the first place. He believes in taking what most people will call calculated risks. And I bet that he forgot to calculate that 5 people literally died just last year doing this exact same thing. I mean, I'm pretty sure that will fuck up his calculations at least a little bit. Having said that, these calculated risks did serve him throughout his entire career. He makes most of his money through his real estate business, which is called the Connor Group. And this investment has grown to now be able to pull in an annual rate of return of over 30%. And just like any other person who takes on a ridiculous endeavor, his excuse is of course that he's trying to push the boundaries of what's possible. In other words, he's thinking outside the box. Or maybe in this case, maybe he's thinking in the box. And maybe that box is a casket. And I'm not saying that to be morbid, but really, who in their right mind would try this again, especially so soon? Now maybe in my old age, I've just become boring. Maybe I don't have that same thrill left in me that I had in my 20s. But if this is something that you would do, even knowing what the outcome was of the last excursion, tell me down in the comments, because I really want to know your reasoning. So let's talk about this next exciting journey down to the Titanic. This time, Connor will be using the Triton 4000/2 Abyssal Explorer, which is a state-of-the-art submersible that's designed to reach depths of 4,000 meters safely. And by successfully recreating this journey in a new vessel and doing it successfully, he's hoping to bring the reputation back to the submersible industry. Okay, so that should do it. I mean, that should make us feel safe, right? We have a state-of-the-art vessel. It's rated to go down 4,000 meters, which gives us more than enough room to go see the Titanic. I mean, that should make us take all of our fear and put it to the side, right? Well, not so fast, because I swear that I've heard these same things once before. Let's go back just 1 year in history and look at the details of the Oceangate Triton. The Titan was described as the world's only carbon fiber submersible capable of diving 5 people to 4,000 meters. Proclaimed as a state-of-the-art vessel, it made its subsea debut in 2018. So that explains it all. I mean, the Titan, which imploded, well, it was rated to go down 4,000 meters. But the Abyssal Explorer, well, it's definitely gonna exceed, because I mean, it's rated to go down, oh shit, I guess it's rated to go down 4,000 meters too. And just to let you know, that whole state-of-the-art thing, well, that phrase is kind of bullshit. It really means nothing. Just go online and literally read the description of any startup product. I guarantee you that at least 8 out of 10 of them are gonna say that it's state of the art. But let me stop myself, because I don't wanna be totally negative here. The fact is that because of the Oceangate situation, there are some things that have changed within the submersible industry. According to experts, the whole reason that the Titan imploded in the first place is because it failed to meet standard safety regulations. Ultimately, the vehicle was unclassed, which means that it didn't go through all of that rigorous testing that would have been necessary to license it for deep sea exploration. But because of that whole incident, there's been a whole reevaluation of safety standards within the industry. And now safety standards have become a lot stricter. But just how much stricter those regulations really are, I have no idea. Because I mean, the first one was built with like Amazon parts and shit. And remember, that one was state of the art too. But if you thought Larry Cooper was the only rich person that's obsessed with the Titanic, well, you'd be wrong. Because there's yet another billionaire funded Titanic project that's about to pop off that's literally just as stupid. Clive Palmer, who is an Australian mining billionaire, he just released his plans to launch the Titanic 2, which is basically an exact replica of the first Titanic. Because if you weren't lucky enough to be part of the first Titanic fiasco, well, here's your chance to be Leonardo DiCaprio or some shit. Basically, he wants to recreate the ship as close as possible to the original, but with modern technology and safety standards. The Titanic 2 is scheduled for launch in June 2027, and they say that they're going to take the exact same route that the first Titanic took. And even with all the climate change and global warming, I would bet that that same iceberg is still there ready to crash the party. But even as stupid as I think it is, the truth is that technology has grown by leaps and bounds over the last 100 years. So the Titanic 2 probably will reach New York safely just as they planned. But just in case it doesn't, just in case any little thing happens, just make sure that you come back to this channel where I guarantee you I'm gonna have a new update video that's called I fucking told you so. But for as many jokes as I have, from a business standpoint, I do kinda get it, at least a little bit. In order to continually advance any industry, there has to be somebody there that's willing to put some money behind things and that's willing to take risks where nobody else is. You really can't just stop cancer research, for instance, just because you ran some trial and 5 people died from it. Because had you got it right, it could have saved millions and millions of lives. So there's a trade-off there. Ultimately, somebody has to be that next person up to take the trial, even if it just killed somebody else, because that could save generations and generations from this horrible disease. But the Titanic is not cancer research. If nobody ever saw that Titanic wreckage again, it's not gonna impact anything whatsoever. I can personally sort of understand the whole race to space, but the whole race to the bottom of the ocean just for the sake of seeing the Titanic wreckage, well, to me, that just seems like another way for billionaires to flex their wealth, even if it kills them. Or maybe this whole thing is just the peak of thrill seeking, like at a level that us normally financed and normally salaried people would just never understand. But honestly, it's not just billionaires that seek these types of thrills. It just happens to only be billionaires that can afford most of them. Because among all the different wealth classes, there's this strange allure of people putting their safety to the side in pursuit of curiosity and adventure. The French call it l'appel du vide, or something like that. You French speakers can correct me in the comments. But anyway, it stands for the call of the void. It describes the inexplicable urge to step out into the unknown, to test one's limits, and to experience the thrill of the uncertain. And it just so happens that these people have billions of dollars, so they can actually explore things that nobody has ever been able to explore before. Now, typically, I create videos to teach founders how to launch successful startups, or to profile successful entrepreneurs and businesses. So what was the point of this video? Well, nothing really. I just read this article, I had some thoughts, and I just had to get it out. But speaking of out,